I'm super excited to be here. It's nice to connect with you in this way after, being such a fan and lover of yours and Green Circle Wellnesses. So my name is Morgan Raphael. I run the blog and Instagram Bun Undone. It's all about approachable wellness tips and tricks for when life and your bun gets messy. So that's kind of what spiraled the name. But it's really a wellness blog for the every girl and with the every girl approach. I know that I'm not an expert, so I really just share from my own experience. And what started as a fitness account has really transformed into more of a everyday wellness, like a little bit of fitness, a little bit of food, not necessarily nutrition, but food of nutritional value, and just daily positivity and affirmations and inspiration. And it's really now gone towards self-care. So I, for a while now, have been trying to think of how can I build this brand? What am I like really, really passionate about? And it's been self-care for so long. It's something that is just innately within me. I think maybe just living with my mom who was living alone after divorce, I've just been inspired to know how to take care of yourself and like, be your own human. And I really, in the last year, I had a really transformational year and I really put more self-care emphasis on myself to really give back some love to myself. And all of those practices really helped me heal and just find like I didn't need to I was thriving on my own really. And it's almost like when I thrived on my own, more opportunities and more relationships came to me. So with that, I kind of did a lot of self-reflecting over like the 10 months that I was doing all of it. And at first, I wanted to create, and hopefully still will create at some point, self-care products that I can sell at one point. I don't know what those look like yet, but I knew I wanted to create a tangible product outside of Instagram. And one night, the idea of Self-Care Society just came to me. And it's a 5-week guide. It's going to be an editable PDF. There is an option to print it as well, but it's a 5-week guide to help you come back to yourself through all different forms of self-care. So it was built on the premise that self-care often has this reputation that it's selfish, that it's expensive, that it costs a lot of time or money. And I wanted to showcase that that's not the case. It can be a few minutes each day, and just carving out those few minutes will greatly impact other areas of your life and other relationships of your life. So the guide goes through a week that's mindfulness focused, a week that's environment focused, so meaning cleansing your space internally, externally, digitally, physically. A connection week, which is all about who you interact with, setting boundaries with those that are negative, or kind of like decluttering your life, so to speak. And then the fourth is release week. So rather than focusing on fitness, or something more strict and tracking that, it's more of how do you feel doing something good for your body, whether that's resting, whether that's recovery, various different approaches. And then the last week is all about self-love. So there's a little bit of pampering in there, like kind of what you think of when you think of self-care, but it's really all about like positive affirmations for yourself, sharing gratitude, things like that. So that launches. Well, it will be April 6th. I'm sure this might air a little bit after. But so if that's the case, it's live. And it's been months in the making. I thought of the idea in September. I started in October. Given the situation, I did put it on hold for a little bit. But now I know the whole purpose of it is to really help and heal people. So I'm hoping to spread some of that positivity and really give back to others in that way. And I will show you. So it's an ebook, but I have a link that people can print it on. And when they do that, it looks like this. So it's kind of like a magazine style type of book.
Oh, nice.
It's a journal in the sense that you can journal each day, and track how you feel, but there's all different types of assessment pages to really help you define what self-care looks like before you start, and then how different that definition of it and how different you feel by the end. So it's meant to be a very full circle journey.
Love it. Wow. That's incredible. And
Thank
ca-
you.
yeah, yeah. And for people who are watching, what are like some examples of self-care that, they wouldn't be thinking about? Self-care, like what is self-care truly?
So I think that, like I said, the definition, I think it's skewed a lot from just like how media portrays it. But for me, it is anything that helps you feel better within yourself. So
Mm.
some examples I have in the book are cooking dinner because your mind is off of like that's a mindfulness practice. You're just focused on the food in front of you. And I don't think that you realize that with something as simple as dinner. It's just getting out in nature. It's getting enough sleep. It's unsubscribing to emails or unfollowing people on social media. Like it's not always the easy, glamorous stuff. It's some hard stuff too. Like evaluating those relationships that no longer serve you. It's cleaning your space, it's organizing, it's getting your finances in order, which I don't have a category that really fits into, so I don't have things like that in it. But even right now, it's not wearing makeup, like just like treating your skin kindly,
Ah, yes.
getting enough sleep, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that we do so many forms of self-care each day without even realizing it. Obviously, different situations. If you're a mom, if you're just super busy and wearing a million hats per day, it's harder to dive into those roles and give back to yourself. And that's kind of who this book was originally made for. When I started writing it, I envisioned the really busy, on the go individual, whether it be male or female. It's definitely a feminine book, but that doesn't matter. Just that's my design aesthetic. But
Mhm.
it was definitely geared towards the person that doesn't think they have time for self-care, to show them that they can make the time and it'll benefit them. So now obviously we have the time to create these habits, and I want people to understand the value in that.
Yeah, I love that. And you said that you dove into self-care when you were living with your mom and you were doing like a lot of different self-reflection. Can you tell us a little bit more about your self-care journey and how you kind of created and foster that self-love within you?
Yeah, so it was actually I think my mom instilled the habits within me without me realizing, but
Mm.
it was more actually last year when I first moved out on my own. So when I first moved here, it was actually because I started dating someone that was out here. So I built like a whole new life out here, not knowing anyone.
Mhm.
When I started this Instagram and I really delved into more of the fitness space, is when I really started to find myself and become my own person, and my passions made sense and things just kind of happened for me from there. But when we broke up and I moved into my own place, and all I had for the very first time, like I didn't even realize, but I had never lived alone. Like I've always had roommates, or I lived with parents, like basically from college on, I never lived alone. So living by myself and realizing I had to be dependent on myself for these things added a lot of stress in my life. It wasn't even necessarily being like heartbroken about the relationship so much as just feeling like I could lose myself a little bit, like this fear of just being lost and things just being difficult to navigate in a time that I wasn't used to. I definitely had feelings of loneliness, but it was all about working on myself. And I'm a very critical person on my own, but finally I had all this time to do these things for myself. So I explored these practices. I started meditating. I became more invested in a spiritual journey and realized how good these things made me feel. So all of those things are in this book. And it's funny, I really did start to do these things more like before the breakup happened, when I was like setting my own space and just giving myself space to do those. And those are the times that I realized like it felt so good for me to have that for myself. And
Mhm.
like wherever life takes me, I'm going to continue to implement those and make time for myself, like regardless of my living situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had mentioned spiritual journey. I just want to touch on that really quick because I love that.
Yeah.
And, right now I feel I'm really diving deep into spiritual health with my own practice and with patients,
Hmm.
especially with everything going on. And, um, with mental health, I think spiritual health go hand in hand. And would you say that practicing self care is practicing spirituality?
I definitely think it is. I didn't grow up religious, so my form of spirituality has been more of this like spiritual mindset in terms of like astrology and pulling cards and just different like energy healing, kind of like what you're talking about. It started for me when I first saw Cindy. Her name is Revealing Soul on Instagram. That's her business name. I saw her for a reading, and she just like opened me up to this whole new world, told me how I'm an old soul and I am spiritual. And I kind of always saw that in myself, but I never let myself live that way. Um, so I started just getting more into like understanding who I am in that way, like meditating more, pulling cards, reading horoscopes, just diving into what my chart looks like. She does aura photos, so kind of looking into that. I have a friend, Katie Calder, who does human design. So I've just since then explored all different forms of it. I actually just got randomly thought about I kind of want to explore Reiki. I don't know when. I honestly have not even done it. I just feel like this pull to do something like that.
Yeah,
So I
we can
think
do
that
it
it's gonna
together.
keep. You do it?
We can do it together.
Okay.
Yes, I just learned, so I'm looking for people to practice on.
Okay. I
Uh,
will be your girl. Yeah. So
okay.
I know that the realm just kind of expands, and it's funny because now I find that like I was depending on it for a little while just to give me some encouragement and clarity in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
I find like even I'll like have a night where I like light Palo Santo and light candles and pull cards and just journal and release. And it's so healing for me
Oh,
in that way.
yes, I
Um,
love that.
and I still do that like a few times a month, but I don't find that I need to do these things every single day anymore because they just feel like they're like a part of me now. Where
Right.
before I would wake up and I'd like read my horoscope because it was just like a little encouragement for the day and I felt like I needed it.
Mhm.
But once you start believing in the power of those things, I think that it manifests itself. I'm also big on angel numbers. That's why my book is priced 2777. But I see like signs and things like that all the time now, just being more open to it.
Mhm.
And it's nice to have those reminders.
Absolutely. And totally resonate with all of that. I was working with a gynecologist out in the west suburbs last year for quite some time. And she does energy healing. And she's been doing energy healing for over 25 years. And she's
Hmm.
done energy healing on surgeries, on babies being born.
Wow.
And so she's hired a bunch of energy healers that do distance energy healing. And I refer patients to energy healing all the time,
Hmm.
as I, learn and practice from those mentors. But it is quite beautiful once you start tapping into this self-care and self-love and recognizing that there is, um, I would say, a divine energy that flows through
Hmm.
all of us,
I
it's us.
1000% agree. And I think that when you start putting those things out there, like when you start manifesting too, and then they actually happen, like you start to believe in it. So it's kind
Mhm.
of like just open yourself up to the fact that these things will benefit you. And then when you see that they do, they become practices within yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then how do you stick to a self-care routine, especially right now, like being home, being stuck, or I should say not stuck, safe at home?
Hmm.
How do you stick to routines for people who are watching who have no idea where to start?
So I think first of all, right now, like I haven't really been setting an alarm as usual. Like my routine is a little bit different every day. So it's definitely giving yourself that grace that that is okay, that you don't need to like be strictly regimented right now. You need to take care of your body before you do anything else. But I think that doing something in the morning, whether that's having your cup of coffee, um, at night, disconnecting from your phone, things like that, just having time away from the noise, whether that's in the morning or at night, I think is a really good habit to set. I think that like for me, it's like I wake up, I kind of unwind, and then like middle of the day, I'll take a break and I'll do my workout. Which before quarantine, I was doing my workout first thing in the morning. But now it just looks a little bit different. But having those breaks in your day that you can do little things for yourself, I think is really beneficial. Even if it's getting fresh air, going for a walk outside, and listening to a podcast, FaceTiming with someone like a friend or a family member, I think is a great way to connect. And that's a form of self-care too. It's if something brings you positivity and good energy, like that is considered self-care right now. And I think that what we all need is to do like little bits of that each day so that we're not in the state of overwhelm as much as we might be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had mentioned affirmations earlier, and this is something that I 100% agree with when it comes to self care. I tell patients to do affirmations every single day, and I individualize them based on their life history, their experiences, their symptoms, things that are going on. What would you say is a really great affirmation to during this time to kind of or a mantra during this time?
Um, I mean, I've been saying a lot like this too shall pass, just knowing that this is not we're all calling it like this new normal, but it's a temporary new normal. And I think just knowing that we're together in this, we will get through this. We just need to be mindful and focus on the present right now, and then it will pass. So I've been really thinking about that. I think that obviously in my everyday life, it's a little bit more along the lines of like you are capable because I'm someone that overthinks and doubts myself a lot. Um, but I also think another good one now would just be like that you are not defined by your emotions. Like we're all supposed to and are allowed to feel in this time. And I think it's so important that we do. So not judging yourself for feeling these things or taking on the feelings of others. I'm an empath, but I have friends that are like extremely empathic and they're struggling more right now.
Hmm.
And just knowing that you need to heal in your own way and not be mad at yourself for it.
Yeah, that's
We all
great.
need to be kinder to ourselves right now. I think it's every single day has been emotionally different for each person,
Mhm.
and it's not normal. So we need to give ourselves the kindness that that is 1000% okay. It's normal for it to not be normal right now.
Yes, absolutely. I've been also talking to a couple psychotherapists and counselors, and they've all been kind of saying the same thing. With uncertainty, it's okay to feel scared or feel
Hmm.
anxious, and to kind of appreciate those feelings because they're there because they're trying to protect you. Um,
Right.
you know, and if you could let everyone know your contact information so they can get this amazing self-care book and also follow you on Instagram or email.
Amazing. So my Instagram is bun undone. It's BUN_UNDONE. And then the Self Care Society Instagram, which is really more of a place to share the templates that I create and just a resource for kind of positivity and the community aspect of it, is at Self Care Society with an underscore at the end. Bunundone.com has everything. I'll also be linking in my bio the link, direct link to the book itself. But you can just find everything starting with that.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then any
Thank
last
you.
words or thoughts?
No, I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for the ability to come together in this time and share and hopefully give some positive vibes. I know that we all need it a little bit right now. So I appreciate you doing this. I think it's amazing that you're doing this.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely trying to, spread education and calmness as much as
Yeah.
possible and good vibes. Good
Yeah, as
vibes as
much as
much
we
as
can
possible.
quiet, as much as we can kind of quiet the overwhelm and find some inner peace, I think that's, I mean, and that the whole point of the book is to have that time for yourself to do that, whether you're doing the activities and the self-care practices that are encouraged in the book, or you're just taking the time to fill out the journal each day. It gives you that time for yourself to just reflect inward and tune inward and let the outside chaos and noise quiet for just a moment.
Yeah.